What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I am Love Coach Scott Thomas, and I want to welcome all of you, even if you're watching one of our replays, one of our recordings. Hello to all of our friends watching on Facebook, on the YouTube channels, on the Conscious Awakening Network, on Humanities Team. You are all welcome, and you're in for a treat, because tonight we are collaborating with a wonderful organization. We are collaborating with BhaktiFest. This has been a festival that has brought people together for a very long time. And the people that come there are amazing. And you're going to meet some of the core presenters as well as the founder. And it's really my honor. This is someone I've known for a very long time. And he is one of the great, really true elders of our spiritual community. He has been bridging East and West for a long time in many ways. And I'm, of course, talking about my co-host for the evening. This is Sridhar. And welcome, Sridhar, to the Awakening World. I'm so glad that we get to do this show together tonight.
Namaste, Scott. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you tonight.
You know, Sridhar, one of the things on the Awakening World that we talk a lot about is there are the kind of older luminaries that we have on, like Deepak Chopra and Marianne Williamson, but we also have the next generation. And likewise, we had to have that today because you have been doing this work for a long time and you created BhaktiFest, but now you have a wonderful daughter who is also joining us, who is also helping you to run BhaktiFest. And that's your beautiful daughter, Bella. Welcome, Bella.
Hello. Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you so much for having us.
So I'm going to ask you first, Bella, what has it been like growing up with your father's work and specifically with BhaktiFest?
Yeah, it's been really amazing. You know, I really grew up within BhaktiFest, and seeing how that community transformed and grew throughout the years was really so special to witness. And being a part of it from such a young age really brought me to this place now where I'm so excited to be carrying on this new chapter of the festival and creating, continuing on this legacy that my father has created.
And what's it like for you, Sridhar, having your daughter, coming in, and what's that like for you?
It's fantastic. We decided this way back after 2018. When I was forced to slow down due to prostate cancer. And I'm all right now, I'm cancer-free. But at that time, we all realized that I need to slow down and just enjoy the rest of the life of whatever I had, right? So, and then COVID came, and 2019, then COVID, and we've been going back and forth. And finally, Bella stepped up and said, I'll take over the whole thing. You don't have to worry about anything. And I said, All right, fine. I'll go back to India and live there, where I have an apartment in Kerala, and so I'm spending at least 3 months a year there now. And everything is beautiful. I'm really doing well and feeling well, and so happy to see Bella and her whole amazing team thriving the way they do. It just blows me out to see the younger generation and their abilities to understand nuances of finance and relationships and negotiations. It's fabulous. I love it.
Beautiful. Well, we've got a global tribe watching. I know that Dorina just came in from Ecuador. We've got people from British Columbia, Australia, South America, all over the United States, North America joining us. And what I want to do is, there's a video that was provided to me, which is a BhaktiFest back in 2015. But it's a really fun video because it gives us a chance to get a sense of what's going to be taking place. And of course, we're really hoping that those of you in the audience watching are going to come to this year's BhaktiFest taking place in September out in Joshua Tree. I'm going to talk all about that throughout the weekend, throughout tonight. Let's take a look at this video, though. It's a fun 3-minute video.
Everybody, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Wow, so much fun energy. And I saw so many of our friends there, Fantuzi, Jayutal, Krishna Das, you, all of whom have been, of course, on the show many times. And gosh, just such a great vibe.
Fantastic. It's life-changing stuff, life-changing. Sure.
Absolutely. Now, Sridhar, you have a very unique relationship and a special relationship to Amachi. And so many of our our people watching love Amachi. I think many of us have gotten a hug. And I, of course, saw her on the altar there at the end. Is there anything you can share about your sacred relationship with her and how you've helped bring her over to this country?
Well, we met in 1987, and I was totally enamored with her. She was already here in San Francisco and Berkeley, and then I invited her to come down to Los Angeles, and she stayed at our home for 17 years when we lived in Topanga Canyon. She has been a very, very major force in my life and in my whole family. All my children, they all grew up with Amma and being very, very close to her. For me, she's a realized saint and the highest female presence on the planet. I can't tell you much more after that because that says a lot, right? And yes. I live there 3 months a year now because since she hasn't come to the West since 2019, and who knows when she will be, going over there and living at the ashram is a beautiful place to be with her. She comes out every night, has darshan every night, very different than it is in the West. You know, over there, you stay on the stage for as long as you want and you get into a hug with her. You know, that's very, very deep and profound. And you're getting transmitted the Shakti part that she emanates from her a luminous being. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you for your role in bringing her to so many people. And what a blessing that you get to have that quality of connection with her. I host events for the Illuminate Film Festival, and last year's big winning film was this documentary about Amma. And I learned that she's feeding 6,000 meals a day now in India. That's just incredible, incredible.
Well, that's a small project for where they're at now. Right?
Right. The hospitals,
and everything, you know. What exactly? Oh, we did a beautiful movie on Amma called River of Love. It's up on our YouTube channel, and it's also up on regular YouTube, River of Love. It's a beautiful docudrama. We had actors and actresses in the first half, and then a documentary for the second half. It's a brilliant piece, and I'd like your audience to check it out if they have time.
Good, beautiful. Well, to kind of follow that flow of meditation, would you like to introduce your friend Yogrishi?
Sure, I would love to. He's more than my friend. I would consider him one of my teachers as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, Yogrishi. Vishvaketu from Rishikesh, India. I must say that I consider him one of the top or the top yoga teachers in all of the Himalayas, and we've known each other a long time. Comes to BhaktiFest every year, comes to our retreats in Mexico and other locations, and we've developed a very deep relationship with each other, and I honor him as a true friend and somebody that every time I'm together, we talk truth and reality with each other, right? And we don't code over anything fancy, you know, and which is the way it should be, and it's the way the traditional teachers from India had with their students. He's currently in Salt Springs Island in Canada. We were just together in Mexico for a 1-week retreat. We had a fantastic time. Master of Homa, fire ceremonies, teaches this at his ashram in Rishikesh. He does teacher trainings there every month or so, and he's back there, I guess, in the fall, and we see him every year when I take my group over there as well. And he's going to lead us into a short meditation now, just to like an invocation, some meditation, just to get us opening into the rest of the program. Thank you so much.
Namaste to everyone. Thank you very much, Sridharji, and I'm very happy to be part of this evening. So I will start meditation with reading second Bhakti Sutra. So like we have Yoga Sutra, Brahma Sutra, And the same way we have Bhakti Sutra, sometimes also is called Narada Sutra. So that's his continued theme is the awakening. So second sutra is saying, Sa tasmin param prem rupa. When your heart is awake, this unconditional love is flow through your action in this world. And that's the highest prem or love you can share to in this world. So let's sitting into any easy, comfortable pose wherever you are. Eyes closed. Let's palms in middle of your chest. First left palm, then right palm. Soften shoulders, gentle smile. Few happy, deeper breathing into your Anhat chakra, into heart chakra. Param Prem Rupa. That means your love is the purest, highest. And that love, when it's come into the action in this world, is divine or God or whatever name you give it, it is flowing through you. That's the second sutra from Bhakti Sutra. Just few happier, deeper breathing into your Anhat chakra, middle of the chest. Continue soften shoulders. Continue hold gentle smile. That gentle smile is not muscular, it is more internal. And feel as you breathing into your heart is awakening. Awakening for Param Prem Rupa, highest divine form of love. That highest divine form of love comes first you experience bliss in you. And then that bliss, it is start to come through your words to the action in this world. Param Prem Rupa. Soften breathing and just feel beautiful divine light is spreading in all over in your body, outside of your body. And realize that's you, that's your identity. Your name, your gender is not your identity in yoga system. Your purest self is your identity. Continue hold that inner smile. Just spend a little more time to your true identity, which is form of pure love. Param Prem Rupa. When you are awake, internal. This divine love flow in your words and in your action. From Prem Rupa. Let's exhale a little longer, just empty, cleaning up. Now let's slowly, happy, proud inhale and hold that breath, that pran into your heart in middle of your chest and realize yourself. My true self is blissful, joyful, playful. That's me. That's my identity. Exhale. Exhaling until Muladhara Chakra, until center of your pelvis. Again, proud, happy inhale. Inhale, inhale. Let's hold breath, prana in your heart chakra. It has 12 lotus petals and they all is blooming. They all pointing upward. They all is opening. Exhale, empty. Empty until your toes. Now again, one more time, big proud inhale. Holding this divine prana into your heart chakra. Aham prema. I am pure love. That is my identity. The rest of things is just temporary. Exhale. Soft breathing. Slow heart pumping. Stay with the light. Stay with the awakening. Awaken means when this tamas, heaviness from body and mind is disappear and it just flow who you are. You are part of this divine consciousness. And that consciousness is flow through you in this world. Sa tasmin param prem rupa. One last proud inhale. Hold breath in and just feel light surround of you. You awaken. You recharge. Exhale. Exhale. Soft breathing. Just from tip of the nose to your third eye. Soften root of the nose. Relax your eyebrows. Let allow to wake up your third eye. Let allow to wake up your third eye. Param Prem Rupa. You are part of this pure love. Opening your Anahat chakra. If holding this beautiful smile, you're welcome to continue to meditate and listen this program. Namaste.
Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Niraye Shrova Vidyanam Vishadeva Varohinam Guruve Shravalokanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devu Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Niraye Shrova Vedanam, Vishadeva Varohinam, Guruve Shrova Lokanam, Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devu Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Niraye Shrova Vidyanam, Vishadeva Varohinam, Guruve Shravalokanam, Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devu Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Nidaye Shrova Vidyanam, Vishadeva Varohinam, Guruve Shrova Lokanam, Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Devu Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Nidaye Shrova Vidyanam, Vishadeva Varohinam, Guruve Shravalokanam, Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devu Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Niraye Shrova Vidyanam, Vishadeva Varohinam, Guruve Shravalokanam, Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devu Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha, Nidaye Shrova Vidyanam, Vidiye Varohinam, Guruve Shravalokanam, Dakshinamurtaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha.
That was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Lord Chamberlain in the chat box just wrote, "Oh, Mashar, this is a beautiful song, and I've never heard you play it before."
No,
So you
it's
still-
I have a second compartment to my musical thingamajigs, and that is sacred mantras. I've been working on them for years, and so I'll have a sacred mantra album coming out soon. And this is one I polished up today specifically in honor of BhaktiFest. So
Thank you so much, Omashar. And we are going to have more Omashar later on in the show. Thank you so much, brother. That was perfect. And what a beautiful meditation, right?
wow, that was phenomenal. No, right, to follow that, it took us right into the center. Thank you so much, Rishi. Namaste, brother.
Namaste. That was beautiful. Beautiful way to start the
Beautiful.
program.
Yeah. We're going to hear from Omashar and Yogrishi a little bit later in the show. But Sridhar, you've got somebody very special to introduce.
Who's on the list there? Because I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Gina is next.
Okay, just remind me as we're going along.
Absolutely.
One of my dear Indian compatriots, been with BhaktiFest since the first time it started, been to all our festivals, all our Shakti Fest. We see each other occasionally in India, which is always a surprise to us. Otherwise, we're always reunited at the festival, and it's always a pleasure and an honor to be in her presence. She's very steeped into Indian traditional music and genre and understands the sutras, and very eloquent in the way she teaches and sings. So thank you so much for joining us, Gina, and you're on.
Oh my goodness, what a beautiful welcome. Well, I have to say that I have loved all of the offerings so far today. Thank you. And Sridhar, you have really, Dhar, like you've held us. You've brought us together at BhaktiFest since the beginning. And it's just felt like a sweet family reunion. You know, right now I'm in a forest in the middle of, like on an island that a lot of people have never heard of, called Guemas Island. And I've got some dear students and friends with me. And I was just thinking that that's not so different than the yogis, right? Going out to the jungles to chant, out to the... I found some big bear poo right outside my tent. And, you know, there's all these things that we need courage in this life, don't we? We need to gather together in community and sing and open our hearts. And so I'm so grateful for you and the others here that share these practices, and to all our gurus. So let's see, I suppose you said to sing. One thing I really liked about the chant that was just shared, the shlok for the guru, is it reminds us that guiding presence is in the beginning of things, and also in the sustaining, and also when you're releasing and letting go. So some of us are better at beginning, some of us are better at finishing. And just because I was inspired, we'll sing that, and then maybe a little bit to Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri. It says that which is guiding us, that guru principle that takes us from the gu, the darkness, to the ru, the light, the darkness of ignorance to the light of wisdom, the darkness of fear to the light of love, is the divine itself. The same thing beating all our hearts And we remember that when we come together. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And my friends, all of you tonight, as we're gathered, let's just remember, this is something I love about BhaktiFest, is there's this remembrance of those who've shed light on our path. So Ram Das is often mentioned, Amaji Amritananda Mahima is often mentioned, the hugging saint. Sham Das is often mentioned. Who in our lives have touched our hearts? And we say we bow with great gratitude. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And just, you could mention them on your lips. We make it so physical when we gather. We dance, we do yoga. Physically, who has touched your heart and shed light on your path? Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, knowing that we're in a shower of grace, and we feel that when we gather together, I feel that coming together more and more like we do at BhaktiFest is what's needed in this time, to just come together and chant. So if you want, just sing this after me for all our teachers. We'll just do a few lines of it. And this is a song actually that came through my friend Daniel Paul. Guru Deva Jai Guru Dev, for all our teachers through all our lifetimes. Guru Deva Jai Guru Dev. Yeah, call and response. I've got Lisa, Steve, and Paul here. Guru Deva Jai Guru Dev. Can you feel your voice in your heart? Guru Deva Jai Guru Dev. Beautiful. Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Deva. And that indwelling presence. Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Deva. One more round, call and response. Guru Deva Jai Guru Dev. Guru Deva Jai Guru Dev. And the light that comes through you. Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Deva. Beautiful. Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Deva. Om Gung Gurave Namaha. And just like you're getting a great hug from the community, from the source of love and light and wisdom, let's breathe it in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I thank my Drupad Gurujis, Ritvik Sanyalji, Amma Sanyalji, Shastraji, my Tantra Guruji, Sound Tantra, and the light in you. And thank you, Sridhar, for shedding the light and helping spread the light as you do.
Thank you so much, Gina. It's always a pleasure and honor, especially to see you in a beautiful environment like you're in now. Thank you so much.
Gina, we're not going to let you go right away.
Oh.
Because people are just lighting up our chat box with all sorts of appreciation for you. Tell us about your experience when you're at BhaktiFest. So many of our people watching haven't been to BhaktiFest. What are the things you want them to know about the experience of being there?
Oh, sure. Well, what I would say is everybody knows and loves the feeling of love, right? And love is not a thought, it's kind of physical. So it's one thing to think about it and feel it, but when we're in each other's presence, we can really feel it. And there are hugs and dances and yoga classes and chanting. And even when you don't know what the words mean, there's a lot I could go into about what happens in our brain and our neurology and our physiology, but basically our bodies relax, our minds relax, and our hearts open. And I'm in a kind of a unique situation. I grew up chanting in an ashram, but like all of my gurus, I feel that there are so many paths to experience the divine and the divine within. Some see it in the tree, some call it Krishna, some call it Amma, and all these different names. And so one thing I like also to share is that all paths are welcome. All paths are welcome, and it's a really welcoming place to feel not only our humanity, but our divine essence. Because the mantras and the yoga practices and the field of the community all come together to help really lift the heaviness of samsaras, of our tendencies. In Buddhism, they call it the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, right? There's the teachings, the one guiding, and the community. So what I would say in a nutshell is it's a great community experience. It's embodied, which I think more and more is really necessary with all our computer world. And it's a lot of fun.
Beautiful. Well, you also, people are so enjoying you. Would you be willing to play just a little bit more for us? People want more. More chant?
Yeah. You know what I thought? See, I do classical Indian raga, but I also, what you hear at BhaktiFest, you hear the gamut from like classical Indian and really traditional Vedic mantras, and then you're going to hear like people just rocking out and singing in different ways. So I'll start with something that's more traditional. It's come through me, and then we'll sing to Krishna. And if you don't know who Krishna is, Krishna, you could say, we've all heard of that idea of being a divine instrument. Like, oh, let me be an instrument of your peace, said St. Francis. So Krishna is the flute player, is one of the things Krishna is known for. And I like to think that I like to open myself and let him lovingly place his lips upon me. So this very first part says, O Krishna, which is, another name for the one, the absolute, known by different names in different traditions. It says, basically, you do all miracles. You make the crippled person walk across the mountain, the mute, the person who can't speak, able to speak and sing. You, fountain of grace, you're the source of all grace. And in these times when there's so much information coming at us, to really feel that we can have the tools and the community to refocus our minds on the source of love. And remember that miracles are normal, actually. I bet everyone on this call has experienced miracles. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yatkripa paranande Paramananda Madhavam Madhavam Madhavam. And then we use some pet names for the divine. Go means cow. Krishna in the young cowherd form. Govinda Jaya Jaya. Jaya, victory. Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana, the beloved of the Shakti herself, Radha Ramana, Govinda Jaya Jaya, in Rag Bhairavi. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. And if those words were too much for you, you could just mouth along. God understands gibberish. Usually in the setting of a festival, we break down the words a little more, make them easier. And a reminder that you are loved, you are loved, you are loved infinitely, you are one with the source of love, and we sing ourselves awake to who we are. Krishna, 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 Jaya, Jaya, Krishna, 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 Jai Krishna. And to the beloved in female form, Jaya Radharani, Jaya Radharani. And for that love for you and me and all beings. Om Shri Krishna Ki. We say Jai like hip hip to the hooray. Om Shri Krishna Ki. Jai! Om Shri Radharani Ki! Jai! Prema Sangha, community and love Ki! Jai! BhaktiFest Ki!
Hey.
What a delight you are. You know, I just met Gina today. This is my first experience for you, and what a wonderful, heartfelt, sweet talent you are. Wow.
Jai Ma, thank you.
Now, Gina, I want people to know how they can get more of you. And so I'm going to your website, and it's her name, GinaSala.com,
Yeah.
GISALA.com. And I see you do a lot. You work with even corporations. Tell us a little bit about what you offer that maybe some of our viewers who are now falling in love with you and your offerings to attend or experience.
Thank you. You know, one of my passions is helping people experience the power and pleasure of voice, because it is our primordial medicine. Like literally every spiritual tradition and every healing tradition prior to Western allopathic medicine used voice and song for healing. We innately soothe a baby with our voices, right? And so my biggest passion is helping us experience the healing and illuminating power and pleasure of our voices. And the secret is I don't actually really, I will give people technique and I'll help people, sing in tune if they don't think they can. There's always, I have a $100 bet. If anyone thinks they can't sing in tune, I can get them singing in tune in one session, because there are different ways that people listen. But my real passion isn't even about how well anyone sings. It's that connecting to love is so simple. So I lead Monday chanting classes. I'll be at BhaktiFest September 15 through 17. I have a year-long Awakening Voice Power of Love Sound School. I do private sessions in hypnotherapy and retreats in Mexico and Maui and all kinds of fun things. So yeah, just look me up at GinaSala.com or info@GinaSala.com, and I'd love to meet any of you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Sridhar.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
What an absolute gem. Thank you so much. And
Thank
I
you.
sure hope you'll come back and be on our show again sometime, Gina, because
It would be
you
my
are
pleasure.
absolute awakening world type of a luminary, and certainly a wonderful example of the next generation of light bringers. So thank you.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
You know, I want to again just put a word out to those of you that are watching on all the different Facebook groups and pages, and a big thank you to John and Summer Raymer. They run the Sign Network. They're our primary partner, and they get us out to as many as 200 Facebook groups and pages. We're also out on YouTube channels. So however you're watching, if you're not in the Zoom room, I want to invite you to come into the Zoom room. And it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and you can come and scroll around, learn all about the different shows that we do, the different guests and musical artists that we have. You can get a free copy of a great book on activating your soul tribe, because that's what this is all about. We're creating Soul Tribe at BhaktiFest and here in the Global Peace Tribe. And what you can do when you're at globalpeacetribe.com, click register for the new season. Now, for any of you who are new to us, we do 3 or 4 shows every week. Plus, we're starting a daily meditation. Every night, we're going to come together and meditate together. We'll be talking all about that at length tomorrow on our Sacred Sunday show. And you'll see we do all these wonderful shows. For example, on Wednesday night, we did a show all about cultivating sexual and emotional intimacy with some wonderful master relationship coaches. And here's the show that we're doing tonight, celebrating and previewing BhaktiFest 2023. And then tomorrow, Omashar and I will be providing some very significant announcements. And we have 2 members of the Twin Ray community, they're core members, who are going to be with us talking about a whole new integration we're going to do with the Twin Ray community to increase our bhakti, to increase our joy, to increase our spiritual community. So come join the Global Peace Tribe. And this is a great time to do it because we just started a new season on July 1st. So you're going to get the links to all of our Zoom rooms for the next 3 months. And we do a lot of special events. Like next Thursday night, we've got a special concert with Kristen Hoffman, along with the Twin Ray, providing a satsang experience. So there's a lot going on in Global Peace Tribe. Register. Also, you'll get the Zoom room links to all of our shows. They'll also, on every Monday, we send out all the recordings of our previous shows. And there's a lot to see. So come join the Global Peace Tribe. I'm going to bring Sridhar back on. And we're also going to bring on this beautiful man who led the opening meditation and have a chance to converse a little bit with Yogrishi. Thank you so much for being with us and getting us off to such a beautiful start with that. And your meditation was all about awakening, and we are here on the awakening world. So thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
You know, I wanted to mention that Yogrishi will be performing Yagna, Homa, fire ceremonies, a couple of different names for that, but I usually say Homa, H-O-M-A, each morning, Friday morning, Saturday morning, Sunday morning at the festival. He's actually going to instruct while he's doing it so that some of us who always wanted to know what is the essence of how to develop a fire and how to worship the fire, we can learn from him during that time. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the importance of actually starting all rituals with the fire ceremony, but having that as a regular practice as well.
Thank you, Sridhar. So it is called Agnihotra or Yag or Havan. And this is the very traditional first yogic system is a start. Sitting nearby the fire, discussion about who we are. And that is called Upanishad. Upanishad means you are sitting next and discussing. That is called the Upanishad. So fire has been in every spiritual journey, no matter where you are, you born in India or you go to outside of India or thousands of years ago. So fire has been the first inspiration for human being. And every tradition express the gratitude towards the fire, to the sun or candle or the fire ritual. That's the first how this yoga is start. So fire have so many symbolic meaning to it. First is fire create the light, and when is light, you're able to move the darkness. Darkness have no possible strength to go out. So fire immediately come in you. Fire means is here when is lightning happen in you. So immediately you start to recognize your weakness or something is not working, and you're able to move that out from with your sadhana, with your yoga practice, no matter which form you are using. Next thing is the fire is always, whereas in their fire is always goes up. It's called urdhveta. So it means when is the light and awaken within us, so you always go upward. Upward means you are more lighter, you are more easy to yourself, you're more enlightened. Fire have other things. It is create expansion. When is lightning is happen, so you have that expansion, means you are open. We have only two feeling, contraction and expansion. So when is the lightning is happening in you, no matter which way, by singing, by chanting, by doing breathing, doing meditation, doing the seva, whatever level, when this lightning happen in you, immediately you feel expansion in you. That is your true self. Next thing is happen with the fire, have the quality of the transformation. Transformation is something is there and is got covered with some things. But when that fire comes, it's clean up and remain pure. And that's it. The Ashtavakra Gita says, Yatha Suddho, your inner self is always pure. Always pure. It was pure, it is pure, it will remain pure. Only things you need to move things out from your way, and that comes from your sadhana, from your practice. And that's it, the other meaning of the fire. So in yogic tradition, we do some chanting, we do some offering to clean the space, to discharge the pranically the space. So I am very happy and honored to be part of the BhaktiFest, and Sridhar to he allowing to do this ritual, which the ritual is thousands a year old, oldest tradition in the world is the fire ceremony. So in BhaktiFest, we are going to do every morning, and to keep energy to vibrate there and transforming everyone.
Thank you so much, Yogesh. Originally, when we were thinking about BhaktiFest, I wanted to always stay with the traditions of India, the path that we've all come from. Our true nature is always to sing and dance with the divine, but of course we lost a lot of that with the current technology and what's going on in the world and our identification with the outside. But the more we get back into our true nature, the longer we can get back into who we really are. Just wanted to read something very quickly here. The woman or man who realizes God has everything and lacks nothing. Life cannot threaten such a person. All it holds is the opportunity to love, to serve, and to give.
Mhm.
That should be pretty much our true nature. And when we talk about God in that form, it's the God that dwells within each and every one of us. And a true teacher and a true guru brings us back to that place every time we go astray.
Sridhar, sorry, I lost the little connection there. You asking me some question, or it was I
No,
did not?
I was just rattling away. I probably I forgot what I said anyhow.
Okay, good. But I want to say one thing. Okay, Scott, you were saying something.
No, go ahead and share what you're going to share, and then I do have a question for you.
Okay. I really like actually, when I heard BhaktiFest, so that's why the first attraction towards the BhaktiFest, because that word, it is very connecting to me. I really like that name, because Bhakti is everyone knows, it's devotion. And for me, is the Bhakti also is the let go this fear. Fear is out from your system. And festival in Sanskrit is called Utsav. Utsav means uplifting and then celebration. Celebrating this uplifting energy, that's how I really like to be part of the BhaktiFest and to go there and everybody singing, dancing, doing yoga. Beautiful teachers are there bringing all different traditions, and that's it. Just bring what's the meaning of the Bhakti Utsav? It bring uplifting to everyone being, and when they go back home, they share that uplifting energy to their family, their friends, and that's the most beautiful work you do in the world. You uplift yourself and uplift others, and that's all.
Beautiful. What a delight it is to have you with us. And actually, to be honest, tomorrow we're going to make this big announcement, but I'm going to actually announce it to people listening now, that starting in a week, the Awakening World audience is going to have access 7 days a week to an online meditation program in conjunction with the Twin Ray community. So Yogrishi, I'd like to ask you, what is the value of regular, consistent meditation?
That is the very important question and beautiful. What is bring meditation in you when you do in daily life? First, meditation is bring you back to who you are. And who you are blissful, joyful, playful, expendable, loving, kind, giving, caring, and this is your true self. And that's what I call this is your identity. That's what meditation does. It brings you back to realize who you are. I tell it is, if you do once a day yoga practice, you are good for 24 hours. You are balanced physically, mentally, emotionally, and you are balanced spiritually. Spiritually also have to be balanced. So that is for me, doing meditation, yoga practice every day, it just bring you in balance and allow you to realize who you are, and then you share that joy and bliss to your family, friends, and this world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I want to let people know that you have also a website. That's the BhaktiFest website. That's a YouTube channel. You've got a wonderful website, which we've put into the chat box. But tell us about your offerings. I love this website. It's got really a lot of fun stuff on it. Yoga trainings. So tell us, there you are. Look at that beautiful photo. So tell us about your global well-being community at akhandayoga.com. That's AKHANDA yoga.com. Tell us about what your offerings are.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Akhand Yoga Institute, we offer many type of the courses, 200-hour training, 300-hour training, 100-hour trainings, pranayam training, meditation trainings, many different type of the trainings we offer in the Anand Prakash Yogasram in Rishikesh. Also, I do in retreats, which is happening in just 2 weeks in Alberta, near Calgary. And I was just in the retreat in the Mexico with Sridharji. Other thing, I do some charity work. We have a school near Haridwar, and that school, in that school, we care about 260 girls to go to the school. And that's it, their free education, free clothes, free book. They come in morning, they go afternoon. And we have a ashram in Rishikesh. That's where the daily program happen. And that's what is the fire puja. And yoga we do every day. Last 17 years, every single day, have not missed our Agnihotra or fire puja there. And we are building another ashram in near Rishikesh in jungle. And that ashram or center will be for those people who want to deepen their practice. People become teacher, but after some time they don't really have time, or they get so busy, but they don't have the environment to where they can do their own sadhana and practice. So that center should be start opening in mid-November and something like that. So these all things I serve with the blessing of my teacher.
Thank you so much. It's really thank you, Sridhar, for bringing these beautiful friends of yours and luminaries onto our show. They are really bringing a lot of wonderful energy to the awakening world. And it's really a pleasure to meet Gina and now you, Yoga Rishi. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, Sridhar, you and I have known each other a long time. And I would like to ask you to share your story about going all the way back to Woodstock. And then we're going to go back to the next generation, your daughter, and hear from her. But you were actually at Woodstock. So for those of us who are a little bit older, that's quite an event. Tell us your story.
Well, I was teaching yoga in New York City with my yoga guru, Swami Satchidananda, when he came to America. I think it was 65 or 66, something like that. And I was also around 68 friends with Michael Lang and Artie Kornfeld, who were they were the producers of Woodstock. And I would find myself over their place with Peter Max, who also was a mutual friend. And I'd be watching them try to create what turned out to be the greatest festival in the history of America, for sure. And sort of later on, like July before August event, they said to me one night, "What do you think is missing from Woodstock?" And I said, "Well, you got everything covered. You got, well, great musicians, soon to be great, because a lot of them weren't even known at that time. And but you're missing the spiritual element." And they said, "What do you mean?" I said, "We should bring the Swami and have him give the invocation." So they turned around and said, "Okay, you take care of that. You produce that little segment." And I said, "Okay, fine." So I went back to Swami and he agreed. And the rest of the story you actually see in the movie, the director's cut of Woodstock. We fly Swamiji in. We got there around a week or so early, and then we fly him in by helicopter. and he lands in the backstage. We have a lot of photos and videos of all this. And then when it was time to get onto the stage, they had to push Richie Havens on there ahead of us. And Richie was warming up. He's always sweating a lot. He's always wet, maybe out of nerves. Bless his heart, he was so great. So we were walking on the stage, and then I realized he's like warming up in the back there. I realized that we didn't have anybody to introduce Swami. This is a very funny note. So I actually walk up to Richie Havens in my way that I have, or something like that. And I said, "Oh, Richie, do you mind if you introduce Swami Satchidananda?" And he's sweating. He's going on in the second in front of 500,000 people. He says, "Get the fuck away from me, kid." It was a moment of time and space, which I'll never forget. Anyhow, he goes on. Afterwards, the regular announcer, Chipmunk, came back on and introduced Swami. So after Swami was finished, we were standing on the stage looking at the sea of 400,000 or 500,000 people. And I said, "Swami, someday in the future, we'll have people like this gathered together to chant the divine names." Mm-hmm. And he said, "Oh, I hope so, Sridhar." Like 40 years later, almost to the day, is when we had our first BhaktiFest, 2009. It's a nice story. Really is.
It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story. And thank you for decades and decades and decades, Sridhar. I so respect and honor you. And it is time to turn things over to the next generation and to evolve it. And so here's your lovely Bella. And Bella, what's it like for you to carry on the mantle and to help create this next, the new paradigm? Because now we're turning things over to you and to your generation.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. It's been a really special experience, especially after the past 4 years. We were shut down due to COVID. And so it kind of took us a while to get back up on our feet. And we really wanted to make sure to wait until we had the time and the space to create, to come back with a really special event. And, I think that's what we're doing this year. We're coming back with a really incredible lineup and coming back so strong, and the community is so excited, which is really inspiring and motivating to see. I know, especially for me and my team, it really gives us so much inspiration to see everyone gather together and be so happy that we're coming back and so ready to attend festival again after so long.
Beautiful. Well, I want to, and now is the time. It's time to start really getting the information on BhaktiFest. So all the information is at the website, of course, and it's BhaktiFest.com, BhaktiFest.com, BhaktiFest.com. There's Jai Uttal, and he's one of our favorites, who's been on this show many, many times. So when you go there, you can learn all about it. And it's going to be in coming up September 15th.
September 15th through 17th in Joshua Tree, California.
Joshua Tree. And when you buy tickets, definitely put in the promo code, because they've created a special promo code for us. And what's the promo code? It's Awakening. So when you go to buy your tickets, put in the promo code of Awakening. Ella, can you tell people a little bit about what's the lodging options and what's it actually go there for those 3 days? What are some of the considerations?
Yeah, absolutely. So with this location, we offer some on-site lodging. We have some glamping tents available, some trailers as well. But for the most part, for people that are looking for something a little bit more luxurious or on the higher end, I really recommend getting a nearby Airbnb or hotel. We have a lot of really amazing accommodations in the area of Joshua Tree, Yucca Valley, 29 Palms. So those are really great options for people that want to be able to get off site and get out of the heat for a little bit and aren't as interested in camping.
Beautiful. And I noticed that the advance tickets are still on sale. The early bird is sold out, but the advance tickets are on sale, and they're on sale for how much longer?
Yeah, they're on sale at the advanced rate for about 1 more month. So around August 9th, they'll be going up again to our at the door price.
Great. And is there anything that people should know if they're going to be going out there? What about food? How does food get handled?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a really amazing group of food vendors that come out with 7 or 8 different options that really accommodate to all kinds of dietary preferences. It's most all vegetarian and vegan, and a lot of really delicious, nourishing, healthy food for everyone. But we do kind of have a wide range. We have Indian food, kind of some healthy, bootable type of options, pizza. So there's definitely something for everyone there.
Fabulous. And to what degree is it a music festival, and to what degree is it a yoga festival?
I think it really balances that line of being both really well, because we do have such an extensive lineup of both musicians, yoga teachers, also workshop leaders. So throughout the day, our yoga and workshop classes both start very early in the morning, around 7 or 8 a.m., and go all throughout the day to 5 p.m. But also our stage is also going all day from 7 a.m. until 1 a.m. So there's always something going on in all kinds of areas and something for you to do no matter what you're craving in that moment.
Beautiful. And you do have an amazing lineup of people that are going to be there. Quite an exciting lineup. I'm going to take people to the website and we'll take a look at that for a moment. So here we go, sharing the screen. You got Michael Franti and Krishna Das, my dear friend Ayla Nerio. We're going to hear from Ayla in a little bit tonight. MC Yogi, the Desert Dwellers. Pato Bantan is a regular on our show, and we're going to hear from him towards the end of tonight's show. So just a remarkable number of people. Of course, we just met Gina. Snow Raven has been on this show many, many times. And a lot of people that we don't know. So it's going to be a combination of some of our Global Peace Tribe friends, some of the people you know, and a lot of new people. And then you also have amazing yoga teachers. And so let's take a look at the yoga teachers. And they are, of course, we just met Yogrishi. Shiva Ray has been on the show. She's awesome. So you're an amazing lineup of people. Tommy Rosen, we love Tommy. So wow, it is how do you put all this into 3 days, really?
Yeah, it's really amazing how that's possible, but we do pack it in there. We have such an extensive schedule in all of the areas, and 2 workshop halls, 2 yoga halls, a 3rd workshop hall that's dedicated all to regenerative agriculture. We have the 2 stages, as well as a mantra dome, a sound healing space, a men's and women's space. So we have a lot of different areas that are going pretty much the entire day.
Yeah. Beautiful. A couple questions that are coming in from our audience. Adora wants to know, how many participants are there? About how many people end up actually coming to the festival?
Yeah, so typically with BhaktiFest, we see around 3,000 to 3,500 people on site.
And George is asking, does it go all night long?
It goes until 1 a.m. is when the music stops.
Okay, great. Well, any last thoughts? What's it like for you to be there and to be producing this? What are some of the other things you can share with us about that?
Yeah, it's really such an honor. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to share something like this. It's so important for people to be introduced to Bhakti, especially in the West. And I think the way that we're able to do it, we have such an amazing opportunity to bring together so many incredible presenters and to talk about so many important topics. So it's really such a blessing for me in my life to be able to hold that space and kind of create this lineup and team of people to produce such an event. And I'm so grateful this year. I have such an amazing support team that's working so incredibly hard to make this show happen. And it's really turning out to be so beautiful. So I'm so grateful and excited to see how it all comes together.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to actually go right into a little video. It's very, very short because, again, people of all ages enjoy BhaktiFest. And to kind of introduce our next guest, let's hear what one participant at BhaktiFest had to say about her breath experience.
So it kind of takes you on a voyage to a different place. You feel things that you don't think you've ever, you had inside of you. Things just build up and it just comes out. You feel with joy and different emotions, and you might want to scream or you might want to cry out or laugh. But it's one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had.
Well, that is our way of coming into meeting another guest that we're going to ask Sridhar to introduce. Sridhar, tell us all about Michael Brian Baker, the breath guy.
The breath guy. Well, he's way more than just the breath guy. We had the honor and the privilege of meeting on Maui. What year was that, Michael?
Oh God, I don't know, early 2000s, I think the first time was.
When we moved Ramdas over to Maui, 2003 and 2004, and started his life over there. In the early days, there was just a few of us doing the savor of taking care of him. And that's when we also gave him our nonprofit foundation, the Center for Spiritual Studies, to help raise funds for him. And we started putting on retreats over there. And Michael came to one of the retreats, and I didn't know him. We met then. Actually, we went swimming together, and one of the party got stung by a big jellyfish. And then we had to pee on him. It was a hilarious moment, actually. That's how we met. Because the uric acid, of course, eliminates the sting. Thank you so much, Michael. Maybe you'll elaborate on that story.
Yeah, first of all, just thank you so much for including me and inviting me to be part of this group. It's very humbling, and just being here has really opened up my heart, all the practices, and it feels like even though we keep our daily sadhana, our connection all the time, the reality is that this festival has provided a family for many of us for over a decade, and we've taken 3 years off. So to be back in this place where we're going to be coming together again and celebrating is really a huge opportunity. And each time I get reminded, I think of the Hanuman Chalisa over and over again, this 42 verses to Lord Hanuman, which is basically reminding him of who he is, because when he forgets who he is, then he prays to Bhagwan, he prays to the divine, and when he remembers who he is, then he knows he is an individuation of Ram himself, And I have the same experience when I move into the world of this desire, this yearning to remember this closeness of spirit and family satsang that we've been blessed to share. Many of us as Westerners, I know that I've learned that as a direct relationship of my friends and family being the children of Westerners that went on pilgrimages to the Far East and all over the globe, that these incredible techniques and practices and philosophies filled our bookshelves and became the discussion at the dinner table for many, many years. And now we're carrying these lineages and these teachings, hopefully with some character and integrity, as well as the devotional element. The thing that, it's interesting because there's always a little bit of a giggle or a wink or a nudge from spirit around challenging transitions or growth periods. It's like, it's always just gentle enough. Like they say, yes, they'll never give you too much, more than what you can handle. And my experiences with this particular family as it relates to Baba, to my introduction to Ram Dass, which was directly related to Sridhar's kindness and his willingness to kind of open the gates for me to be a caretaker, actually, brought me into a world that if you would have told me prior, if you would have said, we're going to open the gates of divinity and you will taste the immortal nectar of all of that which breathes into existence, its fragrance of flowers and harmony of sound, I probably would have run the other way and slammed the door in resistance to the vastness of what that actually implied. And yet, little by little, through my relationship with Sridhar and the family, my sadhana and my practice, and also my jnana, or my desire to study and understand why, what was that lightning strike that went through my body, the tears that flowed through my eyes, the opening of anahata, the heart, the blessing of bhajan or raga, the sound, the second method of awakening, the Brahma Nadi, the Brahma Nadi awakening, the frequency or vibration, to understand and to become somewhat fluent and or fluid with the movement, always has come from this, again, being able to giggle at or laugh with the process that has been the peeling of the onion, meaning like the layers of ego that have dropped moment after moment, year after year, the opportunity to serve 100 ways to place my head upon the ground and be humbled by just the opportunity to be involved in this level of community and connection. Very, very humbling. I won't say too much about this funny kind of trip where we took this hike down this very jagged mountain to go jump into the water in Hawaii in an area that wasn't necessarily the most easy to access and swim, but the jellyfish experience and being stung by these, they were actually man-of-wars, and then to have this relationship start with somebody who I consider one of my greatest allies. We've been through a lot together, not just the beauty of service to many, many different souls, and the celebration of being able to share bhakti or devotion, becoming a bhakt or a devotee of devotion itself together. But really, we've been through a lot of human trials and tribulations, which is kind of what my teacher would call grist for the mill. If you've been able to read a lot of Baba Ram Dass's books, there's one called Grist for the Mill, and it's like, how do you find love? How do you apply Agni or fire to that which is ready and or yet ready for compost, so that we can return to all that's left, which is love. And through that, my opportunity to share an element of the yogic lineage, which is somewhat, maybe not as overlooked these days as it used to be. People are referring to it as breath work these days, but pranayama, the use of respiratory exercises or techniques to open the cellular walls and oxygenate the system and to reverse aging and disease, and to alkalize the body, regardless of age or body type or background. You don't have to be in good shape it's not like needing to go work out or get on your bike or do your walk or even get on a mat and stretch. You can find similar benefits through the practice of pranayama, which is being recognized now in Western medicine in great measure. And it's been a humbling experience, but I have to tell you that it's been a lot of fun. And again, I'm extremely honored to be back with Scott and the Peace Tribe. We did this actually before the pandemic, and it's really nice to be back with all of you.
It's great to have you back, Michael. And I said the breath guy with lots of love and affection. I hope you know that.
Of course.
And would you be willing, because we're a little bit more than halfway through the show. Would you be willing to take us through an opportunity, a practice for us to kind of get our energy running a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. Well, one of the things that I want to acknowledge is that, it is a little bit later in the day. And so we don't want to be bringing too much into the central nervous system when we know that within the next couple hours, we're going to be laying down. And remember that this practice is a very specific blueprint to first oxygenating and balancing the left and right hemisphere of the brain, and then into the oxygenation and temperature control or cooling or heating, depending on if we are either sympathetic nervous system or parasympathetic nervous system dominant, because they switch every 20 to 40 minutes. And then into what we call cylindrical or volume-based expansion. And then the later experiences or the more advanced techniques that you got to see that clip of that young lady talking about her having one of the most profound experiences that she's had in her life. These are from the Vazi Yogam Kriya Dhyana Vayu practices, the active practices that are actually implemented for spiritual awakening. And again, this is with the permission and blessings of all of my teachers, that I would say to you that this is kind of a vast human science, but I'm gonna condense it a little bit. So there are breath practices that create heat and energy, and there's breath practices that create cooling. And so what we're going to do tonight, which is really appropriate, and you can use this all the time, by the way, is that we're going to start at the beginning. The beginning of any respiratory technique, regardless of your condition or your age or your background, your belief system, whatever it is, it's the same for all human beings, is called the balancing breath, okay? And it's called Padidir Asana. Asana doesn't only mean physical posture, it also means seat, to take the seat. So this is not alternative nostril. What we're actually going to do is we're going to utilize our hands and our thumbs, and we're going to place them underneath our armpits like this, and we're going to just feel the pressure of what we call the lung points here at the thumbs, okay, for a moment. You don't have to do this. You don't have to apply any pressure. This can be done very relaxed, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to inhale through your nose, and then exhale through your nose. It's very simple, very easy and gentle. So now I'm going to inhale through my nose. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to exhale. Good. Again, just inhale with me. You're doing great. Just inhale and exhale. Doesn't have to be deep. Doesn't have to be forced. As a matter of fact, when the diaphragm drops, automatically the lungs expand, and the lungs actually become a vacuum. So it's a very simple dropping of the diaphragm and allowing the lungs to expand on the inhale, and then exhale through the nose. Remember, the breath is receptive. You don't have to push, okay? You never have to push. So now, good work. Check your left nostril to see if it's open and clear by closing the right nostril. And now check your left nostril and see if the right nasal passage is open. And now just identify within you, is one more obstructed than the other? For some of us, the right nostril will be more open, which means that the left hemisphere of the brain is receiving more oxygen. We are in a sympathetic active state. If the left nostril is more open, the right hemisphere is getting more oxygen, which means that we are in a lunar state or a receptive state. So at the beginning of any practice, we can identify, am I spending energy right now? Or am I in a receptive place? Now that we've identified that. Now, if you're balanced, we would actually be moving into something like Ujjayi, victory breath, okay? Because then we're going to go into the volume. But it's important that this is shared in this way, because one of the questionable questions about sharing pranayama or the expansion, prana means universal current, and then ayama is to expand or extend. Well, how do we expand or extend if there's an imbalance within the nervous system? That imbalance is going to be multiplied. So what we do is contralaterally, that means the opposite side, okay? When you put your hands underneath your armpits, this time on the opposite side of where there's obstruction, for me it's left, so I'm going to put pressure on my right side. Very simple. Right here under the armpit. And now I'm going to go back to Padidira Asana. So this is going to be my inhale through my nose. And exhale. Very good. Inhale. Exhale. Can be done very gently. Make sure you have a little pressure on that opposite side. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Stay with me. Inhale. Exhale. What if I told you that you could balance yourself into rest and digest within 7 to 15 minutes? Would it be worth the dance, right? Inhale. Exhale. With love and grace, inhale. And exhale. Again, we'll just do a couple more rounds. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And now you can just bring your hands down and you can check again to see if you're left or right nostril dominant. And it's important to remember that during these specific times, coming through the epochs, we are in a very dense period of human experience. Therefore, high stimulation, a lot of external distraction, and a lot of activity prevent us from defining or being clear on that which is subtle. And what we're looking for here is the subtlety. It's about gentle balance, finding that gentle balance, and knowing that when we are in a state of action, whether it's making food for family members, writing in our diaries, making phone calls, paying bills, anything that we're doing from a place of action is utilizing the sympathetic nervous system because it's action. The true receivership can only be engaged through the parasympathetic nervous system, which means we have to find balance in between the sympathetic and parasympathetic, which, by the way, is the purpose of yoga. So the idea of working through asana, pranayama, and meditation, dharana and dhyana, they talk about many paths up the mountain, but one destination. Many of us are different. Our body types are different. Our backgrounds are different. The way we think is different. The way we process is different. The gift that the siddhas or a teacher like Yogi Raj have is their ability to identify how the individual can best begin to what we call yoke, right? Balance, find that center, the balance in between the lunar and solar cycle so that they're in a receptive state. And this is the magic behind pranayama, because in 7 to 15 minutes, you can find that same byproduct without necessarily having to put so much what we call hatha or force into your daily practice. Again, I say, doesn't matter how old you are. You don't have to be in great shape. You don't have to worry about getting on a yoga mat and not being flexible. There are other practices that will prepare you for meditation. And this Padidera asana that we've just shared is one of the beautiful very first steps. You do it for about 10 to 15 minutes, by the way. 15 minutes is plenty. And yeah, thank you for allowing me to come and share and be part of this incredible community.
Michael, you have such a wonderful and warm way of communicating. It's really quite beautiful. And I do want to let people know how they can get much more of you. And it's his website, thebreathcenter.com, thebreathcenter.com. And yes, we do want to live a life of abundance in the next 30 days. So everybody, definitely when you go there, click and show the video. For right now, Michael, I'm going to ask you to just kind of tool us around a little bit and share with us a little bit more about your offerings.
You know, I'll tell you something interesting. One of the things that I learned through being involved with BhaktiFest and the consciousness or the conscious community was that it wasn't enough to be creating experience. We've been through a lot over the last 50 or 60 years, and the idea of consumption and the way that we're sold things became very apparent in my own sadhana. My attachment or expectation and how I could best be of service was to really listen and watch at what was being called forward, especially within the festival environment, because I wanted to be very careful about what I was bringing forward when there are real, very, very serious devotees and teachers in that type of environment. We're talking about people who've been directly brought through lineage that have been practicing for 50 or 60 years, hours and hours of meditation in renunciation. And I wanted to make sure that what I was bringing forward was authentic. So again, with the permission of my teachers, I was told and shown very clearly, people, yes, they want the experience, but what they really want is also to be able to share that with others. So the Breath Center was developed and we started teaching in holistic universities. So doctors that didn't really understand the advancement of Eastern science around the respiratory system and its ability to heal not only the spiritual, emotional, and mental body, but also the physical body, believe it or not. I mean, the folks can tell you, BhaktiFest, we've seen people get up out of wheelchairs after practicing Kriya Pranayama. Does that mean that that's right for them to be doing that? This is where we take into account the level of integrity that we bring with the work forward. And that's also one of the reasons why we're focusing right now on a program that's actually referred to as the Anatomy of Awakening. The Anatomy of Awakening. Awakening is real. It's happening. Through the epochs as we move through Kali, the Iron Age, towards the Bronze Age, the Silver Age, and then back towards Satyuga when we get closer to the galactic center, when our energy is highest and truth pervades, and we reach our highest potential before the fall happens again. This is a period where those who are spiritually minded or soul focused are leaning into the understanding of global perspectives of spiritual awakening and where they all agree. Rather than this or that, one of the things that I've always been fascinated with was the magic that I found through my association with the Indian yogic practices, through the Vedanta, through understanding Jyotisha, the planetary transits, the grahas, their influences on people's soul trajectory through their lives. I started to realize that other cultures were really saying the same thing, but in different languages. And a lot of times when people look at our teachings, I still consider myself very much a yogin or a devotee of Eastern faith. It's important to remember that these systems were put forward when there was no baseline of language. That means that there wasn't a way to communicate. You didn't have people hopping on airplanes and traveling around the world to communicate their teachings to find out how much they had in common with other cultures. So then you're trying to explain what Ida or Pingala or the rise of Kundalini is to Western medical science, and they're saying, bah humbug. But yet, if you see that the stories of Ida and Pingala are related to the balance of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, and that consciousness is non-local, and that duality can be dissolved through the experience of this spiritual awakening, and that it's spoken about in South America, it's spoken about in North America, it's spoken about in Buddhism, right? In Theravadan, even in Theravadan practices, if you follow Baba Ramdas's, he checked everything out before he met Maharaji and fell at the feet of grace underneath the blanket, what we call underneath the blanket of grace. That we as human beings are realizing now that there's really one heart, and there's one tribe, and we have one planet. And this is what Global Peace Tribe is really about. And so the understanding this anatomy of awakening is basically a PhD in spirituality with consideration of all aspects from different cultures and where they meet. And so you got to come out, highly recommend regardless, you got to come out, regardless, you got to come out and experience BhaktiFest. It's very special. We don't know how often it's happening. We got a real wake-up call in 2020. We all got 2020 vision. We'd all been relying on that for almost 12 years. And then all of a sudden, oops, okay. And now it's back. And it's an opportunity to practice many of the methods of awakening as defined by Swami Satchidananda Saraswati in the 10 Methods of Awakening. You can look that up. It's the scientific understanding of spiritual awakening. And if you come to BhaktiFest, a lot of people won't tell you this because you're having so much fun, but simultaneously what the producers have done is that they've actually choreographed an experience where you won't even notice that you're actually experiencing 7 of the 10 methods of awakening. And by the time you get back in your car, you're completely transformed. Pain, suffering, attachment, expectation, it's dissolved. You've become a completely new person. And this is why we invite you. Please come and join us in the desert.
Michael, that's just beautiful what you said. And there are some questions, even though we're running late, since Anne says this is the best Global Peace Tribe show so far. I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions. Grace wanted to know, does it matter which arm is on top? Going back to that practice that you did.
No, not in this case, but what it does matter when we talk about contralateral, it means that you're going to want to push on the opposite side from where you have your blockage. So if my left hemisphere is blocked, left nostril's blocked, I'm going to push on the right side. My right nostril's blocked, I'm going to push on the other side. It's contralateral.
Okay, and George asks, Michael, could you address sleep on right and left side?
I love that.
Yep.
I love that. That's such a great question. The body has the innate ability to heal, doesn't it? And that's why when we sleep, we switch every 20 to 40 minutes. Every 20 to 40 minutes, we move because the side that's open has the flow or the free flow of energy and fluid and cerebral spinal fluid and then 20 to 40 minutes goes by and you move to the other side. And so organically, the body is already in this algorithm at a much more modest pace. So what yoga is doing is it is bringing in awareness and saying, now I in synchronicity with all of that which breathes all things in existence, have the ability, or am beginning to take the ability to navigate this through choice. Manipura, the third center. Through my will, I choose. Through my will, I choose to engage with prana, life force. Right? They call this the fountain of youth. Turn back time. Right? Yeah.
Well, thank you, Michael. You, everybody you've brought on Sridhar has just been fantastic. Just really, what a beautiful group, what a beautiful community. I love how Michael helped us to understand what's going on a subconscious level by coming to BhaktiFest, that we have a transformation that we can't even fully understand. So thank you. To help integrate all of this, we are going to go to Omashar for another song. Because boy, we've got a lot to integrate right now. So beloved brother Omashar, what do you got for us?
Let me shine a light inside, and I'll show you where your truth resides. I'll lift your eyes up to the skies, and I'll prove to you that nothing dies. Together we will rise again, and we'll make amends for what we've done. I know you hear me, so please do not fear me, 'cause I'm here to lift you, restore you to glory, and love you and hold you and be your victory. My child, I will welcome you home. Welcome you home. Let me take your hands in mine. As I look at you, your spirit shines. You see, it's true that we are one, and we came out from the central sun. I know you hear me, so please do not fear me, 'cause I'm here to lift you, restore you to glory, and love you and hold you and be your victory. My child, I will welcome you home. Welcome you home. So when you take a different view and you dream awake, breathe out the new. The world will come alive again as we dance and sing and make new friends. I know you hear me, so please do not fear me, 'cause I'm here to lift you, restore you to glory, and love you and hold you and be your victory. My child, I will welcome you home. Welcome you home. Welcome you home. So when you take a different view and you dream awake, breathe out the new.
That was beautiful. Let's all twinkle Omashar, sending this beloved brother some love.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I love that one.
Thank you, dancers. That was cool.
Isn't it great to see more and more people getting up and
I
dancing?
know. And even I noticed that Janice knew the lyrics of the chorus. That was very cool.
Well, you know, speaking of Janice, she is wearing her BhaktiFest t-shirt. Put the spotlight back on you, Janice. There it is.
Hi.
She's got her
Hello.
special BhaktiFest t-shirt on right there.
Very
So
cool.
I love it.
she's a
Beautiful,
BhaktiFest
Janice.
from way back.
So nice to see you. We go way back to the health food industry, Scott.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, when I had my cosmetic company, she was she worked for us and took care of us so well when I had Desert Essence.
Sweet. Oh, you had Desert Essence, really? Wow. Yeah, I bought those products.
Yeah. I've Desert Essence was my underarm deodorant for a long time. Oh, so isn't it amazing how we all kind of come back together in new ways? It really is beautiful. Janice has just helped us put together a show a couple of weeks ago for the Awakening World in conjunction with World Unity Week and Uncle Bunna. So, you know, we're all kind of coming back.
Scott, Janice has to unmic.
Yeah, you need to unmute, Janice, or say anything.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, you couldn't hear me talk. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we go back a long way. I think till like 1980 or something.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good to see you. You look wonderful. I love
Thank
you.
you.
You just made me cry tonight several times going down memory lane, and you look so handsome. You look so vibrant. And to see Bella, oh my God, what a gorgeous woman she's turned out to be. I've seen her grow. Anyway, many blessings to you on your
Thank
recovery and your continued health and all the beautiful bhakti work you're doing. And I'll give anything to be there in September. But my mother's 94 now, and I'm here in Florida with her. So that's my saver right now.
That's your save. That's where you should be.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Janice. Hey, you know, before it's really important that we all support Omashar, and you can find all things Omashar at his website, and his website is his name, omashar.com, and you learn all about him. And we always suggest buy his music at Bandcamp. You'll find all of his albums there. There are going to be some new albums coming as well. And so let's all support our beautiful beloved brother who is here at every single show that we do, every Awakening World show. And he will be at every Awakening World show as long as he wants.
Thank you, brother.
We love you very much, Omashar. You are so important to our show. Even my dog Jasmine Bear is coming over right now just to say yes.
Just to say arf, arf, arf.
Okay, see, she's
Oops.
right there.
Thank you.
Right. Well, you know, there's going to be a lot of amazing musical artists at BhaktiFest. And one of the wonderful musical artists is Ayla Nerio. I've had the good fortune to become friends with Ayla. I've gotten to know her quite well, and she's an absolute angel. She wasn't able to be with us live tonight, but yesterday I pre-recorded a little interview with her. And it's a wonderful chance to, she's going to talk about what BhaktiFest means to her. She hasn't been there before. This is her first time going, and she's excited. But it's also going to be an interview in which you're going to get a chance to drop in to the heart and the soul and the understanding of a very special musical artist. So I'm really excited. It's my pleasure to introduce everybody to Ayla Nerio. And I'm going to bring up her video right now. It's going to take me a moment. There it is. Here we go. I'm here with somebody that I've had the pleasure to get to know. She's amazing. Ayla Nerio. Now, many of you know her as a wonderful musical artist, but I got to tell you, she's an amazing human being, and I'm grateful that she's my friend. And she is got something in common with me. We're both going to BhaktiFest for the first time. I've never been. I've been hearing about it for years, and now it's coming back after the little COVID break. So, Ayla, tell me a little bit about like what drew you into choosing to come to BhaktiFest.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. I mean, I've just heard such beautiful about Bhakti Fest for so many years, and I have dear friends, Tina Malia being the main friend who's played there many times and is well loved by that community, and just heard such beautiful, beautiful things about the festival itself and people's experiences going, as well as just feeling the cohesion and the intention around how they curate the artists and everything. And I didn't actually, I was surprised actually when they invited me, because I know traditionally it's been a bit more kirtan in a stricter kind of way. And so I feel very honored to get to come, and really excited to share a whole array of songs. I was planning to go a little more acoustic, but I've been doing a lot more electronic productions of my songs, and a lot of people are saying like, you got to play these at Bhakti Fest too. So I'll probably do a mix of more looping, mantra, my own version of that, as well as having some live artists with me, playing violin and different things, and then the live that we'll get dancey for a little bit too.
Nice, nice. Now, for any of you who don't know Ayla, I'll kind of give two quotes. First, from the Huffington Post, they wrote, "One of the most poignant voices currently floating about. Ayla Nerio is an otherworldly artist who shares the fruits of her soul." So that's what they say. But let me tell you what I say, because I've seen her twice recently. I saw her up in Sebastopol, and then I had the pleasure to see her down in San Diego. And Ayla, she's just like this big heart. And that heart, her intimacy of her songs, of her life, is intertwined in her music. And she has a fan base that's just like, are these heart-centered people. So everybody there is just like, we just kind of melt together. So it's a very melting as one kind of an experience. And I think even though you're not a kirtan artist, and BhaktiFest is famous for kirtan, I think they chose you though because you are so heart-based. And what is the purpose of kirtan? It's devotional music to open our hearts. And you do that through your music. You open many hearts.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those words. Yeah, it's beautiful. I've started to just recognize, I mean, not started, I've felt it for a long time, but I feel that the more I tune in and really get out of my own way, that's the constant meditation for anyone, for being an artist, and especially I think in the devotional music world, it's really about being a vessel. And both in the song creation process, getting out of my own way, but then in the live context, which can be harder. It can actually be easier to get out of my own way when a song's coming through and I'm writing it or transcribing it, sometimes it feels like. But in the live context, it's so easy to be aware of other, right? And so to really just be there for the music and for the experience and for the heart and the potential of our shared collective heart through our individual hearts. And it's my favorite. My favorite thing is when everyone starts singing along and it's just a field, it feels like the purpose of getting together for live performance, right? Is to contact that, in unison.
I've noticed that many of your songs have kind of a mystical quality and also a connection to nature. It seems like the themes of nature and the themes of our mystical selves meeting. Tell us a little bit about where that comes from.
Well, I was very blessed to be raised by two alternative parents out in the country that chose to homeschool me and my brother. So, and really by homeschooling, I kind of mean unschooling for people who know those terms. We used a curriculum, we followed a curriculum, but we were not enrolled in a school in any sense. And so we really had the freedom to explore so many realms of learning, and so much of how my mom guided us was through nature, and we really learned a lot through nature. And so I feel like I grew up with this really strong base in nature, and my connection to source, to creator, is also through nature very much. I feel like the natural world and the elements are this expression of the divine, and it's part of my mission in songwriting and sharing music is to listen to that, to listen to the transmissions of nature and the elements, and through that the divine, and to find the words and the sounds that bring alive the magic, because there is such a mystical, magical way of seeing the world. And I think oftentimes, we can have those moments when our eyes are opened and we're like, wow, this sunset, or like, have you ever really looked at sand? Like, it's incredible. Like, each one of these is like a tiny, tiny boulder. And like that kind of, but like, how do we get at that with words? How do we get at that with music, and get to really feel the magic and in a way, the innocence, I think, that is in all of us, that we don't, it can get covered over as we get older, but it never disappears. And so it's that innocent, pure heart of being with what is mystical and what is magical, like just the mystery, really, of existence. It's such a fun practice to try to get at even a tiny centimeter of it, just through our very somewhat clunky human wording and stuff, but to like really play with it like that. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question exactly, but
well, I tell you, you've changed my reality on sand. I had never thought of sand as all these tiny little boulders. That's such a wonderful Elanerio-ism,
It's like looking at things from like the littlest bugs.
Yeah.
What are we? Are we like weather forms to them? Like it's a whole different reality plane. And I love how lyrics and songs have the ability to play with that. It's like, just like how can we look at the world a little differently, and not just from our normal human eye-centered place.
So, and your music takes us there. I'm remembering the time I was in Muir Woods in the Redwood Forest, and I really put my hand between two redwood trees, and I pretended I was a redwood tree, and I really dropped into that space. And as people walked by, I realized that from redwood, at least how I perceived it, from redwood tree consciousness, which is like these flashes of light going by, right?
Yes. I've thought of it as like we're like ants, like the way we see ants moving really fast. That's how the trees would see us. Like we're just scurrying about super fast, because time is actually different. Okay, now we're going there. But I've thought about this a lot, like the little creatures versus really ancient, like the time depends on your lifespan. So if your lifespan is hundreds of years or 1,000 years, then you experience time differently. Whereas if your lifespan is like some insects, it's like a day or a few days or a week or a month, and so time literally is different. It's a different experience. So cool.
Very cool. Very Ayla. Very Ayla. Well, we are going to get to see Ayla, and we're really looking forward to being with you at BhaktiFest. Now, one last question. There's a lot of yoga going on. Are you a yogini?
Oh, yes. I need to be doing more yoga. I do like, I have some yoga training, and so I do my own informal little yoga here, yoga there, but it's powerful. And times when I've really done it more regularly have been it's been a good practice.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely try and be at some of the yoga classes there.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of master yoga teachers there
Yeah,
for sure.
that's
Yeah.
really special.
Yeah. All right, well, I want to remind everybody, of course, we all want to see Ayla live at BhaktiFest, but you can also get a website, and it's nice and easy to remember because it's her name, Ayla, Ayla, Nereo, Nereo.com. And she's got a wonderful video there. And definitely, I strongly encourage you to do what I just did. I'm showing you, join her community. And what happens when people do join the community? Like, what's going to happen now that you've got my email address?
Well, you'll know when I come touring. And oh, I didn't know it had this. Cool, a little game. You get a
Yeah.
game.
And I never know how many, like, it says the motorcycle. Now, does that include the guy that's on the motorcycle? I never know.
I know, these are good questions. I think it gives you the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I'm starting to do a bit more of like sharing thoughts, like not necessarily in time, but maybe, just some of these noticings about the world, like a email every day or every week or even every month person. And also what you would get is information about my online courses. So I teach, I don't like to say teach. I facilitate the journey of people coming back into their voice and their power and creative opening fears of being heard and singing, being terrified of singing.
Really?
Yeah. And so there's a whole membership we're going to open up in the fall, and there's going to be some different courses coming. So so anyone on the list would know about that and also get maybe discounts and things when I offer that. And then my new album is coming up. So you would find out about that too. And it's the first of 4.
And you're going to play some songs from your new album. Now tell us about the new album.
Yeah, it's the whole series, it's a 4-part series. So this is the first chapter. And it's a 4-part series moving through the elements. And so the whole series is called Sovereign Kin, which is the duality and the interdependence of our sovereignty as humans on this planet and what that really truly means, and also our kinship and how we have to work together. And so that's the umbrella. And I've known these words, sovereign kin, they came to me like 7 years ago, and I knew it was going to be an album, but I didn't know when was the right time. And then I started working on it 2 years ago, and then last year, 1 year ago, it informed me that it was 4 albums, and the first chapter was fire, and we were going to move through the elements. And then my whole life started changing, and I really realized that this is the first time I feel like an album is making me instead of the other way around. And it's been the whole themes of transformation and purification through fire and the phoenix, all of it. I've been very immense year, and it's coming out on the equinox. This first chapter is called The Spark.
Well, I keep saying last question, but I've got to ask one more based on what you just said. When you say this album is making you for the first time, is it like, do you feel connected to the muse? And if so, is it the muse for this album, or is it the muse in general? Like, how does your relationship to the muse play into an album coming through you like this?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. I guess with this one, what I've felt is that the directives have been pretty clear. Like I'll get an insight, like, oh, I think this is multiple albums, and then it clarified it's 4, and they're the elements, and you're starting with fire. And so I would just hear these things. But then it was this experience of watching my whole life change and watching like everything I thought I was heading towards just changing, leaving a 10-year relationship, like all of these things, and realizing the theme of fire was working me. And so it's kind of gets confusing then, like, did I call that in, or was I just listening? And I feel like I was listening, and I'm it's been beautiful to work with fire, and I'm also very relieved to start working on the water album. I'm very excited about that. Because it's a deep thing to work with an element, and fire is a very particular element that's very strong. And so that's what I mean by it making me. It felt like I was inside the album all of a sudden, like I was in the prayer of the album and it was transforming me. And it's been really powerful, and it's been really, I've never felt such a energy around an album. Also because it's 4 albums, it's like big. So I'm making an online portal for people to go deeper into not just the songs, but really like there's going to be different invitations for each song that have to do with connecting with a different element of fire, like passion, like where are your passions in life? Or here's a meditation or a visualization for cleanse, like using the imagery of fire to purify oneself, or an actual ritual with fire, like different ways of connecting with the fire element in ourselves, because it's so strong on the planet right now. And that's a lot of what some of the songs are. And I really believe, especially living in California with the wildfires, that so much of the hyperactivity of fire in anger, in wildfires, in so many ways that we see in the world is because, I don't know if it's because, but it's related to us not actually having right relationship with the fire element, and forgetting how to pray with it, and forgetting how to honor it, and forgetting how to give back in a way. So that's part of my hope with the portal, is that it's creating a different relationship with each of the elements. So this portal will house all the albums, and there will be space to go into each element. Yeah, so that's coming on the equinox.
Tracking that, and as a coach, by the way, I think about learning how to honor the fire, even of our anger. Not to be afraid of our anger or afraid of someone else's anger,
Yes.
but to honor that under that anger there's something valuable, right? And not to just judge it or stuff it down. So that's a beautiful understanding, and I look forward to hearing how you express it musically.
Yeah, you just reminded me too. I need an area, and I know where it's going to be actually. You reminded me that anger is an important part of the fire element, and how to have right relationship with anger. So that's
Right.
going to be one of the pages on the portal.
Oh, good.
So thank you.
My pleasure. My
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah. Oh.
Ayla, it's always a pleasure, and I
Mm.
look forward to my next connection with you and seeing you at BhaktiFest.
I can't wait. Thank you so much, Scott.
She's a gem. She's an absolute gem. Sridhar, what are some of your thoughts about having Ayla coming to your festival?
Oh my God, I'm blown away, actually. That's my first contact with her. And I never saw her or even spoke to her in the past. And I'm very enamored. She's absolutely not only a beautiful young woman, but has an amazing heart, and will certainly be a huge force in the world, in music, and in understanding the true self. And this is another example of how the younger generation are including people not necessarily in the Bhakti tradition or the Kirtan tradition, which is beautiful and all well, and we have plenty of that going on, but expanding that and bringing in other people that can voice another thought and bringing other people to the fold from that direction. So I'm very excited about it.
Well, you've now got a sense of who she is as a being. So Oshar is.
By the way, you're breaking up a little bit, Scott.
Yeah, you're freezing, brother. So I'll go ahead and play Ayla's video that we have set up. Yes?
Yes, please play it.
You're back with us, brother. That's very cool. Yay.
Yes.
All right, where are we? Here we are. Here's this and that. And
Your air fills my lungs
wind in me, you let me breathe. Seeds scattering wide, your children will grow across the valleys. I'm bowing to thee. Your body lays all around me. May I walk gently upon your limbs. Oh body, you're not here for me to use. My life you've given and I choose to see. With each breath I breathe. Coursing, go freely. Will you rain down my grief? Oh, may you run so easy, wild and clear, pure and deep. My body lays all around me. May I be beauty, my life your limb. Oh, body, please let your song come through. This little voice sings for you. I'm listening. Each breath I breathe. Gonna let myself be changed like a season, oh. And I'm stronger when I'm brave to the song of your heart. My love, can I lay down these blindings? Become the sound of all you see. Your body lays all around me. May I walk gently upon your limbs. Oh body, you're not here for me to use. My life you've given and I choose to see. My body lays all around me. May I be beauty, my life your limb. Oh body, please let your song come through. This little voice sings for you. I'm listening. With each breath I breathe. May I walk gently upon your limbs. With each breath I breathe. Your air.
Well, Bashar, thank you so much for running the videos. He does many things. He's my co-pilot, he's our house musical artist, and he is now our video DJ. Thank you, Bashar. Thank you so much.
She is, what a talent. Wow.
Fantastic.
What a talent, dude. And the videography she had with it, wow, I feel inspired and brought into my heart and into tears and into presence. Thank you, Ayla.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all going to be together with Ayla and so many other amazing people at BhaktiFest in mid-September. And we're going to meet one of the other amazing people. And he's a new friend to both Sridhar and myself. And I'm looking for Indy Singh to turn on your video camera, please, Indy. And I apologize for us running a little bit late tonight. Oh, Indy, come back. Come back. I'm looking everywhere for Indy. Well, while I'm waiting for Indy to come back on, there he is, I think.
Hey, brother.
Hey,
Aloha.
there you are.
Aloha.
Hey, aloha. Thank you, first of all, for being so flexible. Everybody wanted to kind of go on early, and Indy was willing to go a little bit later. So thank you.
I don't know how flexible I am. If you saw my hips, they're not very flexible. I can work on my flexibility a lot more.
We all, like Ella just said, we all can do more yoga. We can all do more yoga. So, well, for those who don't know you, Indy is the co-founder of two mycelial cooperative businesses. And it's all about reimagining education with elemental wisdom, regenerative community, and civic engagement. And just look at those three elements coming together. His podcast.
Wait, can you say that? What was that again? What were the three things? I forgot. I even forgot what that was.
Yeah, so they are elemental wisdom,
okay,
regenerative community, and civic engagement. You know, I love that because most of the time, my friends that are about sustainable land are not about civic engagement, right? Those two, it's kind of like, ugh. So bringing those together, man, that's pretty cool. And here's another two words you don't hear together very much. The name of his podcast, are you ready for this? Political Hope. How often do you hear those two words together, right? So, Indy, you're stretching some boundaries here. You must have taken the red pill.
I think the pill was rainbow. Actually, it was rainbow color.
You took the rainbow pill. Well, hey, Indy, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing and your relationship to this great awakening world that we're a part of.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you for everybody who's facilitated throughout this event, this global awakening, and also just everybody participating in BhaktiFest, who's all the people who have kept it alive in the past and now that are taking charge and carrying it forward, which is so beautiful to see that, you know, things like that happen in our world, things being regenerative and sustainable, especially when they're spiritual things, especially when they're things where people come together with love and integrity, with truth and beauty and goodness. So thank you for all of you. You know, there's some of you that have helped to make this get us here. There's some of you that are here and carry us forward. So thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you also for introducing me to this space. I've never been to a BhaktiFest, but I am sick. And I've gone to Kirtan every day of my life. I probably was going to the Kirtans with my mom when I was in her womb, right? When she was going to the Sikh Kirtan and to the Gurdwara and doing, you know, whether she was doing langar and doing the community kitchen, feeding people, or listening to Kirtan and Ardas and Simran and chanting and Simran, I was in her womb, right? And so I feel actually when Kirtan is happening of all kinds, I literally feel my sympathetic, my vagus nerve, right? Maybe some of you guys know it, the vagus nerve gets activated. And so I have a lot to share from that context and my background, but actually I would love to share, kind of give you guys an embodied experience of what I'm going to be doing at BhaktiFest. And we're going to ask some questions that go from there. But I feel like sharing the dynamic nature of the universe that plays out through us and plays out through each one of us. Let me share something dynamic that you all who are watching this can participate in while we continue this conversation. I share more about who I am and what I'm doing and what's going to happen at BhaktiFest, blah, 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 blah. But let's share something that's going to be happening at BhaktiFest. So one of the fun things I'm going to be sharing at BhaktiFest is a neuroplasticity play shop. Neuroplasticity, what the heck? Why, what? Neuroplasticity, I've heard of neuroplasticity, interesting stuff. I'm sure there's questions. But before we go there, let's just do something that's neuroplastic. Right? So and this is actually a meditation I learned when I went back to India. When I left medical school, I crashed and burned. I almost killed myself in medical school. And after leaving that, I got into Ayurveda, I got into yoga, I dove in deep myself, very autodidactically, because I didn't want to go back to another school and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn how not to heal, how to actually get sick, right? So I was like, all right, so let me find out what is this ancient wisdom that's still alive, and that all this research. And when I went into India, I found a Babaji who taught me this meditation. And it's like, oh, duh, this makes sense. So everybody, let's all do this, all right? So get on, and you can share it on your screen if you want or whatever. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all of our fingertips at the fingernails, do your best, right? Everything we do, we gotta do our best, right? Try our best. It's okay if you're not perfect, but pretend like there's a ball in between your hands, right? But like kind of giving a little bit of bend to your fingers as best as you can. Of course, we're all different, okay? So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna rotate our thumbs, right? But not without touching them. So like try to rotate it and pick counterclockwise or clockwise, whatever, away from you, towards you. Okay, pick one direction, bring it together. Then do your index finger, okay? And then, okay, don't let them touch. Like my teacher used to say, please, sir, you need to focus, okay? Please, ma'am, you need to focus, okay? Right, focus. Now do your middle finger, okay? Keep rotating through the fingers, okay? Rotate. Okay, now do the ring finger. Oh, that's a little bit more, not much of a doozy over here. What the heck right here, okay? All right, and then get to the pinky, okay? And then you can reverse the direction and go back down the fingers, okay? So as you guys are doing this, you can continue doing this while I'm talking. And I feel, and while we share right now and converse a little bit, I definitely just encourage you to try this and see how your breathing is. Just observe and be aware of how's your breathing as you're doing this. Are you being able to breathe more deeply? Are you being conscious of your breath while you're doing this? How does that affect your ability to have your hemispheres of your brain connect and communicate with each other, right? There's neuroplasticity that forms when we have our left hemisphere, right hemisphere communicate. There's a corpus callosum that has to be practiced, right? That's why some of us are too left or right brained or whatever that means, right? Because even that, there's some, there's some debate over that, right? But still, there's atrophy that happens in our brains. Also, as you're doing this, start to notice what is easy and what's hard. What does that say about our minds and maybe some habits or maybe some resistance we have in our lives? And maybe our fingers might be an opportunity for us to open up those stuck patterns, right? And the funny thing is, as you're doing this too, the neuroplasticity that you're creating is actually going to keep you younger. It's going to keep you from getting dementia, Alzheimer's, maybe into stuck patterns of thinking and behavior and emotion and all these other things. But what if we also use this to be able to listen better? Because let me just ask you, brother, when you're doing this, does that limit your ability to hear what I'm saying? Is anybody limited by hearing me as you're doing this? Can you hear me less or hear me better? Maybe write in the chat. So that's something to think about. What if we created practices, these tools, these neuroplasticity tools, to help us not just listen, but maybe respond rather than react? Because a lot of times when we get triggered, when we get bothered, or somebody kind of challenges our identity, we get really, right? But what if we created practices that kind of forces our brain to work at a more optimum or more elevated or higher, or whatever, I don't know, higher or lower, right? But like more expanded way, right? What if that allows us to respond rather than react? So that's just a little glimpse into the more playful play shop that I'm going to be presenting at BhaktiFest. But it kind of, there's something, I think they're coming after me, guys. There's too much Bhakti here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Let's make it run. We got to dance more. But I would like to also share, I'm really grateful to participate in this way and show up in this way, because for me, as you brought up the sustainable perspective mixing with civic engagement, and I'll throw in there Bhakti, right? I feel, one of the things we have to recognize, and I'm so happy so many of you love the Indian and Eastern traditions, and coming from growing up in an Eastern tradition, especially in a community that was even still is being persecuted for practicing Bhakti and universal love, feeding people, even your enemy, right? Taking care of people, even if they're your enemy. That's not really supported in our world right now, right? In fact, you're called a terrorist if you try to do something like that and you educate lower caste systems, right? So I feel let's honor all the Bhakti people that have ever existed, the people who have held that mantle of Bhakti, because it is, what if, let me ask this question, what if it's a path to social enlightenment? What if it's already happened a bunch of times and we get to do kirtan and we get to do all these practices from Jesus to Muhammad to Buddha to Krishna to all, and maybe there's all these female characters that have been deleted through history that were also amazing bhakti practitioners, but they kept cultures alive. They actually restored regenerative practices in communities that created sustainability and provided safety to women and children and ideas, right? Created spaces for ideas to flourish. Let's honor all the bhakti masters and teachers and practitioners who challenged political systems. If you think about it, bhakti comes from it's a political revolution, actually. It's not, come on, you guys think about it, right? All these bhakti traditions literally happened when there was great oppression and systemic oppression, right? Where like the most vulnerable people were attacked and ostracized, and even the most spiritual people were killed actually at the plate or burned alive or all kind. Oh my gosh, I mean, I come from the Sikh tradition. That was very recent where a lot of this stuff was happening. So let's honor those traditions by recognizing that those were political actors. And what's going on right now where we're dealing with sustainable food, right? Creating sustainable food for ourselves and water that's healthy and safe, living water, right? Connecting to energy that's sustainable, that actually makes sense so that we all have access to it. Internet that's easy and fast. I mean, look at, you were cutting out with your internet. Why don't we have super fast internet all over the world that's free? That's possible, right? So maybe we need a bhakti movement that actually starts to bridge everybody needs, whether they're man, woman, child, white, black, rainbow, whatever the heck you are. Everybody deserves that at a basic level. To like actually all the people who are super powerful. Like we were just sharing some of these videos and some of these presenters were teaching about meditation and your sympathetic and parasympathetic system. So many of us, even on this call, are super powerful. What if we channel that power towards a political revolution or an enlightenment or a bhakti enlightenment, so that we do something that none of our ancestors could imagine because they were isolated to their regions. But we can provide a wave, a ripple of bhakti that transforms our communities into healthy, nourishing spaces for everyone, even the people who are toxic. Like we even create a space for them to find reconciliation and redemption and forgiveness, because ultimately the forgiveness is from within ourselves, right? We have to forgive ourselves before we can forgive others. So BhaktiFest at Bhakti DC, I love that. Hey, why not? Why can't we have BhaktiFest in every city, especially where there's people suffering, right? What if Bhakti is feeding people where they need to be fed, not just feeding them with the food that they need, but also maybe the spiritual food, right? If we're in a spiritual crisis right now, what if the best power is a Bhakti evolution, a Bhakti enlightenment? Actually, it's funny, Tejo, who's going to be presenting at this as well and we're collaborating on this panel, this huddle we're doing, right? Around Bhakti, Bhakti as a path for social enlightenment. We were talking about this and saying like, actually, it's really important that we communicate that we're in a really special moment right now. Like, let's come together. Let's put aside our differences and even actually acknowledge our differences because they're real, right? Like, I'll tell you what, my family is still being persecuted in India. The farmers are still being persecuted in India. There's a moment right now where we can actually come together and support each other without fear and without hate. Nirbho, nirved, right? I'm sure some of you guys heard of Kundalini and all this stuff. Forget about Kundalini. What if we actually access the knowledge and wisdom of Bhakti to make the transformation? And so I'm super excited to share laughter as a tool for social enlightenment, for conversations, constructive conversations towards social enlightenment, regenerative practices, and playful ways of learning and volunteerism so that we can take care of the fire and the earth and the air and the air or wind or the water, right? Or the heart. Maybe what's the fifth element? Ooh, Akasha, oh, fancy, we'll get all mystical over here. But what if we took care of those? What if we created sacredness in all of those elements by actually volunteering to support the people who are water protectors and the water spaces and the water sources, right? What if we activated Bhakti to create energy sources in communities that need energy? What if we created movements around earth and soil, right? Bhakti towards that. And that's all going to be happening. That's crazy. The crazy part about we're going to be doing it at BhaktiFest. We're literally going to be accessing our love and Bhakti for all these elements by doing stuff at the soil at the Joshua Tree campground, right? So that's going to be the craziest part right there, is we're actually going to be practicing Bhakti with the soil, right? And that's what excites me about this festival that I haven't seen in any festival yet. I've done so many festivals, I've presented at festivals, but finally we're doing something at the festival, we're actually practicing bhakti and we're practicing spirituality. We're practicing interconnectedness in the soil, on the land, with the land, so that we can see the generational effects that we can put into the land. Oh, okay. Okay, questions, whatever. I can keep going. I mean, like, I'm on a neuroplastic flow. I just did a bunch of this.
Indy, as Kathy just wrote, his enthusiasm is infectious. And I ought to write, yes, he so rocks, because you do rock. And
Well, I paper,
thank
rock,
you,
and
Indy.
scissors. I do all three. I'm a Trinity kind of guy. So paper, rock, scissors, I'm all of them.
You are a multi-purpose kind of guy. We're going to go to his website for a moment. He uses Linktree, and his Linktree is Mystic Science. Most of us regulars know about Linktree because of all of our other presenters who use it. So do what I just did. Go to Linktree/Mystic Science and subscribe. I am subscribing. The little circle thing is going around and around. So I'm going to just close it so we can see all this man is up to. Political Hope Podcast, Neuroplasticity and Resilience, Cosmic Labyrinth, Elemental Based Activism, Caring for the Caregivers, a nonprofit organization that he's a board member on. He's been on ABC News. Oh my gosh, you can find all things Indy Singh. So you have a choice. You can go to the Smithsonian Institute, or you can spend about the same equivalent of time going through his Linktree to experience all the aspects of this man. Indy, what a pleasure to meet you, really. And thank you for combining all these elements. And thank you for holding such a high vision. Anybody who can have a podcast called Political Hope together, we need that. We need that in this world where a lot of people are trying to divide and create polarization through politics or through civic. Thank you for doing the opposite. That is bhakti at a high level. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I have to admit to you, it is a very lonely path. I've witnessed over the years being like ignored, canceled, and within all the yoga communities, the spiritual communities, like just completely kind of like just ghosted actually in a lot of spaces, because I'm inviting people to be not just civic engagement. It's not just voting. It's like showing up regularly, showing up in your community, finding out how you can be of service to those who are least or most vulnerable, right? Like that's how we show up in actually seva, right? Seva is not working for an organization. It's actually showing up for those who are vulnerable, right? And so for me, it's been a lonely path, and it's really beautiful to be in this space to actually call to arms or call to legs or call to heart all of us who actually have been practicing bhakti and so many people and know so many amazing people. And in fact, there's also, like so many of us understand how important it is to take care of the caregivers, right? The nurses, the PTs, the teachers, the farmers, the gardeners. Like we need to be like proactively moving towards supporting those people. And it's not about me. You're not following me. You're following actually what's going to give you karmic resolution, right? We're actually all playing this karma game, right? Karma and dharma. But all of us, we're kind of sitting back hoping somebody is going to save the world, right? Or some guru is going to save the world. But no, that's not how karma works. Actually, karma starts with each one of us. And if we resolve our karma, maybe that will also resolve all the issues we're having with our families, or maybe issues we're having with our kids, or maybe issues we're having in our community. Maybe it's actually being proactive with our karma and not waiting for something bad to happen and being like, okay, now I'm going to go pray to God or Krishna or Jesus or Buddha. But actually, wait, what if the prayer is actually giving forward? Like not giving so you can receive something, but actually show, if you can't. I was recently, I was told by somebody in the Rotary, I'm in the Rotary Club. We started the Eco Club, the first Eco Club in Big Island of Hawaii. So we're doing a lot of restoration projects, supporting natural and regenerative farmers. Like we're just doing a lot of great stuff on the Big Island right now, maneuvering. And one of the things, one of my mentors there in the Rotary said is, here's how you can be the best of service. Either you give your work, three W's. Either you give your work, your effort, your time, right? Your work, literally your hands, your body, whatever, your skills, or you give your wealth, because if you don't have the work or whatever to give, you give your wealth, right? Or you give your wisdom, right? Because some of us have deep, vast wisdom and you share that. right? And if you do those www, right? You actually, that's how we start to transform the world in a way that it is harmonious, that everything is harmonious, that even when something bad happens or something toxic comes into the space or something that we feel is very not healthy for us and the community, we actually have built up the resilience because we have an infrastructure based on seva, on service, on karma yoga, right? And then dharma is easy, right? Dharma is super easy once we're practicing karma yoga. A lot of people go like, how do you do all these things? You do all these things. All these things are only possible because I practice karma yoga. Like things line up, support happens, magic happens, right? And it can happen for all of us if we start to practice proactive, I'm about to say Indian style, proactive karma yoga, right? So if we practice karma yoga in this beautiful way, we can do some amazing things. And all of you, right, can start to recognize civic engagement can be a sacred practice, right? Our engagement in the political systems all around us that we're participating in can be a sacred spiritual action, right? You know what? I gotta share one thing funny. One of the fun things, I was elected as commissioner.
Indeed, we do need to wind down. We do need to wind down because my internet.
Let me finish this thought real quick. So I was invited. I was at a city. One of the cities I became a commissioner. One of the ways I became a commissioner of the Human Relations Department was I was going to the city hall meetings, and they give you like 2 to 3 minutes to speak. I was just going on there and playing the bansuri flute. I was literally coming on there playing the flute. I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't complaining about anything. I was just playing the flute, and they selected me as a commissioner. Okay, just so letting you guys know, there's a spiritual anemia in our civic systems, in our financial systems, in our health systems. There is spiritual anemia there, right? There's spiritual anemia. So in a way, we actually have a call right now to show up in however way we want to show up in a way that is actually courageous and curious and celebratory. And we don't even have to pick a side or an ideology. Maybe we just play the flute, or we share a breathing meditation at these city hall meetings or at these county things, or who knows? I don't care. There's so many different ways we can do neighborhood counts. You can make something, you can share food it doesn't matter. Or you can reach out to me and I'll share some ideas and we can talk about how we can support your community, or maybe something you care about, or maybe some karma you want to resolve. Maybe you're suffering from some sort of karmic block, and we can open that up by being regenerative with our civic engagement.
Indy, you're beautiful. What a beautiful man you are. Ayada wrote, I am so relating to everything Indy is saying. This is the kind of pep talk that our world needs. Thank you. And my internet is going in and out. I've actually switched over my phone, and we need to wrap up. So we were going to do much more on Pato Banten, but almost my entire audience knows Pato because he's been on so many times. I just was with him by Zoom. He's in Africa right now. He is making a documentary on the spirit of Ubuntu. And we first previewed his work on the Awakening World. His documentary, when it's finished, we're going to premiere it on the Awakening World. So we are only going to show a quick 2-minute video just to remind everybody about Pato's amazing energy. I've seen him in concert several times. You've seen him on the show many times. Indy, thank you again so much. And Janice has got, hang on, Janet's got the Pato banner, bumper sticker, Ubuntu. I am because we are. And that is the message of Ubuntu. It's the message of Indy and Sridhar, BhaktiFest.
And because
Awakening
you
World.
are.
Exactly. Thank you, Janice, for having that. That's perfect that you had that. Thank you. See, we're one big global peace tribe. Omashar, go ahead and cue up a quick little Pato, and then Sridhar and I will wrap us up.
When I go to do a show and go to do a performance for the people, the main thing for me really is to give the people a good experience. When I'm on stage and I see the people having a good time and enjoying the music, it's a beautiful feeling, especially when you're on stage surrounded with other musicians. And the musicians are performing and they're having a good time. It just makes you just want to give the people all you've got. I want to uplift the people and make them feel good and dance, you know, and enjoy the experience of the music. The message that I put in my music usually is about one love. It's a message to remind people that we're all brothers and sisters, that we're all God's children. We also spread a message of the golden rule, that we should treat each other the way that we want to be treated. The reason why I keep performing is because it's my life, it's my way of life, it's how I express myself. I love to play music, I love to travel, I love to meet people, and I especially love it when, you know, you can make an impression on somebody's heart and soul and come back a year later, 2 years later, 20 years later, and then tell you that something you said at the show or something you did at the show is a memory that they'll never forget, and it made them feel so good.
Tabantan live at BhaktiFest. Sridhar, I'm bringing you back on. Curious, Sridhar, is this Pato's first time at BhaktiFest, or is he a regular?
No, first time for Pato and first time for Indy Singh and Isla.
Wow. So we several of us are going to be losing our BhaktiFest virginity in September.
Definitely.
You know, you have done a lot, and I want to just direct people to your YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube/BhaktiFest, they have a beautiful, and there's a lot of different elements here to your YouTube channel, and everybody definitely click subscribe, including your whole Ram Dass series. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's more so when you go to the website, you go under Bhakti Speaks, and in there lives my 11 years of interviews with Ram Dass. I had the great fortune to sit with him every April on Maui. I had 3 cameras going, and we just sat for an hour or 2 hours at a time. And when we first started in 2009, we agreed that anything will go, because there's too much confusion out in the world about who does this, who does that. And we cleared the air on so many versions of Ram Dass and so many versions of me and other people's minds. And it just went on for 11 years. And the last one was April 2019. And then he left his body shortly thereafter. And it's very fortunate that we have this series intact. They're fantastic. It's we talk about spiritual contemporary subject matter. We go deep on so many various levels. It's just so sweet, and a lot of times emotions, tears came up. It was just a great. I'm so happy and so proud that I had that opportunity to share that with him. And from that point on, we started interviewing many other people, different luminaries, different people that come from different lineages. And, every couple of weeks we keep on doing that. And they're also up on Bhakti Speaks' site. So we just recently did Shiva Ray and Scott Blossom, Zoe Kors. And we have a lot more people that we're going to be doing over the years.
That's beautiful. So I've put the links to both the overall podcast series and then to the Ram Dass videos. I spent a lot of time in Maui with Ram Dass, and I'd also known him earlier when he was in San Anselmo. There's always a moment I'll never forget. And of course, we all have our 1,000 Ram Dass moments. He was in his chair. It was after he had been stroked. And of course, 99% of the audience loved Ram Dass. It was very adoring and respectful. But this was at one of his Maui presentations. He's in his wheelchair, and some guy stands up, Sridhar, and has the audacity to say, Ram Dass, if you're so spiritual, how come you can't just stand up and get out of that chair? And the audience gasped. Ram Dass just smiled and said, you know, I've just grown rather fond of my chair. Next question. And I love that moment. I even get tears as I think about it because, you always talked about the stroke was fierce grace. I'm getting choked up thinking about it. The grace in which he handled that thing that came at him, May we all handle with such grace and dignity when somebody is attacking in such a way. Thank you, Ram Dass. I'm imagining many of us, one of our first spiritual books, kind of like Be Here Now, Autobiography of a Yogi, Seth Speaks. For so many, these were like the very first books that woke us up that we started with on our journey. Well, Sridhar, one more time, a reminder to go to BhaktiFest, get your tickets. Now, you mentioned in a private chat with me, I want you to talk about volunteers for people that are a little bit more financially challenged. What are some of the options for volunteer?
Oh yeah, Bella had to leave early, and she just wanted me to remind everybody that there's a very robust volunteer program for all ages. It's not necessarily you come and dig ditches for the setup crew. There's a lot of sit-down jobs, a lot of other kind of things. Check in there on the website for the volunteer program. Don't let anything stop you from coming out to this event. In 2018, when we had our 10th anniversary, it was the most magical period of time ever. 4 days then. So I really welcome everybody to come out. It's an important time to step away. I know we're all so busy with so many other things. Step away for a couple of days. Everything will still be there when you get back to your house, right? Absolutely. I remember the early days, I've been going to India every year since 1980. And by the way, we take groups to India every year. It's also on our website under Bhakti Yatra, Y-A-T-R-A. Next one is January 26th of next year. What was the point I was making, Scott?
Going to India, 10 years, 2018, your 10-year reunion.
It was such an amazing event that we had in 2018 that it blew the lid off of everybody. There was not a dry eye left in those 3,000 plus people. And the same thing is going to happen this year. Even for the performers and the leaders also, they're all merged in, and their all movement is obvious too. They come there to be together with their friends and family because they never see them throughout the whole year. So it's wonderful to see all these teachers and workshop leaders and kirtan people coming together for themselves. It's such an honor to see that and watch everybody just expand and love each other and hug. And thank you. Really, thank you.
Thank you, Sridhar. I love you very much. It's good to be back connecting with you again. And everybody, this is where it is, the Bhakti Yatra, January 2024. That'll be January 25 to February 12. Again, you can find that. You go to BhaktiFest.com, and then you'll see it's easy to click down and find Bhakti Yatra. Thank you so much, my brother. I love you so much. And
we need to do this again, Scott.
Absolutely. Let's do it every year for sure. And I will look forward to seeing you in September at BhaktiFest.
Or maybe even sooner.
I would like that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's right. You might be coming through Ashland. So hopefully I'm going to see you in I think it's about 10 days in Ashland. That would be wonderful.
Perhaps if our timing works out.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And thank you, audience, very much for tuning in. I hope to see you all at BhaktiFest in September. And it was an honor and a pleasure to spend these couple of hours with you. And I'm starving, actually.
Go eat dinner, bro. I was munching on celery and hummus during the Ilanerio piece. So, all right, everybody. Well, we're going to close with a quick 2-minute video. Wasn't Gina Sala a gem? She was like You know, I mean, I loved everybody on tonight's show, but she was somebody that's like, okay, we want to bring her back often. She was a gem. So we're going to actually close with DJ Omashar putting on the video of Gina Sala. And let's just use this as a lullaby. And I hope to see all of you tomorrow morning for our Sacred Sunday show, 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. It's going to be a very special show. Some big announcements. There's going to be some big changes in our Global Peace Tribe offerings. So please join us tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. DJ Omashar, go ahead and play Gina Sala for us.
You are so deep, you are so deeply loved. You are so deep, you are so worthy of. You are so deep, all love any child. You are so loved, is worthy of. Now think of someone who comes to mind. Whoever comes to mind. It could be someone you know is lovable, or it could be someone you're like, how could they be lovable? And let love sink through you. Capital love is a superpower. It can always love through you. Here we go. To whoever comes to heart. You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so deeply loved. You are so loved. You are so deep. You are so deeply loved.
That was it. Short but sweet. I know, right? You're not eating again, are you? You got to wait till you.
Well, I don't know. My internet's going in and out and all sorts of crazy things. But Omashar and I will be back with you tomorrow morning. Please
We will.
join us.
10 a.m. Pacific time, USA.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Sridhar. Thank you, all the presenters.
Good night.
Thank you,
Good night,
beautiful.
good night, good night.
Good night.
Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.